Hello, this is CityScape, a regular vodcast featuring people, places, ideas that impact our community. I'm Dan West with the Livonia Westland Chamber of Commerce. Today we will learn about the special work by a Livonia-based agency that has supported families with adoption and foster care opportunities for nearly 3 decades. Forever Families opened with 2 people in 2 rooms in Novi in 1997. It outgrew its initial office and moved into a bigger office on Farmington Road in Livonia in 2014. Since the move to Livonia, Forever Families expanded 5 more times in the same office complex and now utilizes 12,000 square feet with 40 employees who serve 250 families each year across southeastern Michigan. They connect clients with adoption through the foster care system and domestic infant program. They also developed successful programs to support parents to pursue reunification with their children in care. Jean Stenzel and Denise Weiss took their experience working in child residential services to form Forever Families with a focus on giving their clients a positive experience with preparation, education, and support through the adoption process. Denise retired in 2020, but the other co-founder, Jean, is still involved and joins us today. Jean, thank you for finding time to join us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You've been in this industry now 40 years.
Yeah.
Talk about that ride and some of the things you've learned along the way and why the work's fulfilling.
Because it doesn't feel like work is really the reason it's fulfilling. I don't feel like I have to come to work every day. I come to work every day, but I don't feel like it. It's not been a job in a very long time. When I first started out and was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, it was a much more of a job because we did residential, we did this, we did that, but it was mostly residential. And then in 1989, I found adoption. And when I found adoption, it was like putting on a comfortable sweater and a pair of shoes, and it was like I haven't really left adoption since. I can tell you the first adoption I ever did, I had a relationship with that woman until the day she died, and I learned so much from so many different people. And I actually love what I do, and it's very true what they say, if you find something you love, it's not like going to work every day. Yes, there's a lot of stress with being self-employed, and yes, there's a lot of stress with having 36 to 40 different personalities, always dealing with it, but overall, we're a family here, and we really focus on families, and I think that's what makes us good at what we do. We put the family first, whether it's the client or our own families. So if somebody's having an issue or a problem with their personal family, it's still family. And we really try very hard to focus on that. There's always little obstacles in the way because you have to deal with courts and you have rules and regulations, so you can't do exactly what you want to do, but we push really hard towards trying to keep that focus on families and mostly the children. It's our job to advocate for them because they don't always have a full-time advocate. So our role is advocation, and through that we do what the state requires of us, which is reunification. The ultimate goal for foster care is reunification, and if that doesn't work out, then we go towards adoption. And I would say with adoption, we use outside resources, which means recruited families, but a lot of those children, I would say at least 75% of them, if not a little more, are adopted by their foster parents and or their relatives. And relatives are very, very important in this process. They have preference, especially when it comes to placement, especially when a child initially comes into foster care. They will try and find a relative for that child to go to their home. They want to keep them in the most home-like environment that they can, that's secure and safe.
So, 29 years ago, you and Denise started Forever Families.
Yeah.
How did you guys get connected, and what inspired you to go out on your own 29 years ago?
So what inspired me to go out on my own was, I'll be honest, I was tired of working for other people, and I wanted to do my own thing. And Denise was in a pretty much the same spot. She had been working, she had been out of college since like '82, so she had been at it a couple years. She had been at it a couple years longer than me, and she had worked for other people, and she had thought about different things she wanted to do. And we came together this month, 29 years ago, and talked about whether or not we had things in common, whether or not we had similar beliefs, and how we did things and how we believe things should be done. And we came to the conclusion that we had more in common than we did not in common. So we both decided, all right, let's push forward. And when I went to my parents to talk about it with them and get their support, literally my father said, "What took you so long?" Because my dad has been working for his family business since he was 14 years old. He's now 88. He still goes to work every day. So that's where my work ethic comes from. That, and my mother was a hardworking mom at home with 6 kids. So it was like, ooh.
There's an entrepreneurial mindset in your family.
There is, and community. Entrepreneurial and community. They were always community focused. I can't tell you the number of teams that we've sponsored, the family business sponsored over the years. We do some similar stuff here when we can. Being a nonprofit was a little bit different than being for-profit, which is what the family business is. But it gave me the foundation to know that being a social worker was what I needed to be, and being a self-employed social worker was even more what I wanted to be.
You talked earlier about just really the family focus, not just for the families you serve, but also your staff and your team and stuff like that. So specifically within that, what has been the key to the success and growth of Forever Families throughout nearly 3 decades of doing this now?
I think the biggest thing is that it might be a sickness, but I'm a risk taker. And in the beginning, when I would hire someone new, it used to just literally make me sick to my stomach, because I knew that I was becoming responsible for them, in the sense that, if I'm not successful, they're going to be unemployed. So it finally got to the point where once we brought in foster care in 2012, it flattened out our revenue stream, so it gave us the ability to know that every 2 weeks we were going to have an infusion of revenue, because that's how the state pays, is every 2 weeks. So it turned out to be much more stable, and so that's when we really grew. When we decided to do foster care in 2012, and I wrote that program and put it in place, that was the thing that really stabilized things and just really caused us to explode.
It sounds like whether you're finding a team or staffers to work here, or finding foster parents or adoption parents for a child and stuff like that, you're in the business of connecting people. I guess talk about how much of that, I mean, obviously experience, but a lot of it's like just your gut read on things, right?
It's a huge gut read. They have to have the family has that gut reaction when they meet with us the first time. They come in, they've probably interviewed 2 or 3 different places. They've done their internet research. They've tried to get some references on us and those types of things. And when they come in, it's my staff that meet with them that cause that initial reaction to go, okay, this works for us. They're going to give us what we need. They're going to support us, and this is going to be a good fit. And then that's how we grow from there.
What is the key attributes you see in a family that successfully, as a foster parent or as an adopting family, that they find success with that child?
The most successful families are the families that come in with a lower set of expectations. And I don't mean that to be derogatory at all, but if they come in with no expectations, meaning you can't come in and expect gratitude from a child that's coming from a traumatized situation. You can't expect them to say thank you all the time. You can't expect them to automatically love you the first time they see you. That may be your personal reaction, and that happens all the time. But it's not the reaction that these children have. They don't trust adults. They have reasons not to trust adults. Whether their birth parents meant to or not, they put them in a situation where they don't trust adults. And most birth parents don't mean to do it. There's usually a number of circumstances that cause kids to come into care. So when they come in, they need you to just be there, stay there, and don't walk away. And some of the most building moments you're going to have with a foster child is when you don't walk away and they're having a trauma, and they know there you are to hug them and grab them and rock them and say, everything's going to be okay. I'm not going anywhere.
It's really a read and react experience for those families.
And it's a learning experience for the families, because all of us come from a background predominantly where you had a steady household. You knew where your next meal was coming from. You knew where you're going to put your head down every night. Now, a lot of our children don't know that. It's very transitory before they come into foster care. So they need to be able to adjust. And they have what they call a honeymoon period that's usually about 30 days where they're that perfect child. And it's after that time when you really build your attachment and they build their attachment to you, because the trauma starts coming out, and then they know that they can trust you, that you're not going to go away no matter how bad we are. And sometimes they get an increase in bad behavior to test you, and foster parents will be tested, as will adoptive parents of children from foster care. You will be tested. You must count on being tested. And that's what we're here for, is to provide you with that support and normalize that behavior, because them testing you is a normal behavior for them. It's not a normal behavior for you, but it's a normal behavior for them.
You were talking earlier about the goal of the state is to get as many families reunified as possible.
Yes.
We're in a space here called the Connection Center here. It's a significant renovation you did last fall, and it gives you a chance to get the biological parents to spend time with their child in care. Can you talk about what happens and how that program works?
Sure. Parenting time is court-ordered. It's part of their treatment plan for them to learn how to be better parents with their children, so when they take them home, the likelihood of them returning to care is much lower. And there's a number of services that go with parenting time. Most parents are also required to do some sort of behavioral health, so therapy. The children, almost all of our children need therapy because they've got to get past the trauma and learn to trust. And it's a combination of that and parenting time. So when parents come here, you can see they get dropped off where we're at right now, and then their parents come in and they get an hour or two a couple times a week to visit with their children to rebuild that bond and that trust that they need. Our parents also go to parenting classes, a lot of them do, so that they learn, because surprisingly or not so surprisingly, this is a generational thing. A lot of our birth parents are also kids that came from traumatized backgrounds. And so they need to unlearn their trauma as well, which is why they're in therapy and why they're given parenting classes. And it's an astronomical list, or at least it seems that way to birth parents when they first get here. They have to get over the anger of their children being removed, and then they have to get to that point where they have to put their children before themselves and realize that if I don't do this, they aren't coming back.
I got to imagine it's not an easy process because you got both parent and child going through layers of trauma.
Oh yeah.
That they have to process themselves and learn from, and then find ways, obviously, to better handle all that.
Yes, they do, and it's a process. And the goal of the federal government provides a goal that we need to start. Reunification needs to be determined by the time a child's in care, 12 months, and then they prefer them to be going home by 15 months. That seems like a long time, and it seems very overwhelming for our birth parents when they first come into care, because on top of that, they have to get jobs, they have to go to therapy, they have to get reliable transportation, they have to find a safe place to live. So their list is just overwhelming, and our job is to provide them with resources to try and meet those goals and get them accomplished in the time that they want to do, in the time that they're required to get them done.
So, well, Jean, I thank you for spending some time with us. Congratulations on the success of what you
Thank
built
you.
here. It is amazing to see a Livonia place like 5 times you've expanded within here. So you found a home here, clearly.
It's overwhelming to me. Yes, we found a home in Livonia for sure. And we love being involved with the chamber and all of the other things that we get involved with. We do a lot of stuff in the community where we do some recruitment. We do the fun run for the run-in for the kids that they do in the summer. I think it's July. And we do Touch a Truck, and we do a couple of other community outreach things, And Rebecca, who is our community liaison person, she's also now a chamber ambassador. So
no, we appreciate what you guys do, but more importantly, we appreciate what you provide, what you've built here in our community. So
thank you.
So, Jean, thank you for your time, and I thank all of you for spending time watching Cityscape today. We'll catch you again next time.